pourrait peut-être commencer par les présentations de vous. À commencer, let's start with you, Jean-François. You're directeur général. What's the CEO? Yes, executive director at
I'm managing director of Co-op Lifmonia, which is a production company owned by the artists in a cooperative model. I've been running it for 11 years, so I also act as a booking agent, producteur délégué, the delegate productor. We do publishing as well. We have a small label, and we're 5 employees, and we've been developing the carrier for Tireux de Roche, Sagapool, Nomadic Massive, Aérad, Guillaume Arsenault, Claude Pelgag, and Henri Godon, and we're also the agent for an Acadian band called Les Hôtesses de l'Air, so I'm involved in all the aspects of the carrier for all those artists.
And José Bertrand is, okay, you will go with the IPINFO. Okay. He's the attaché culturel for the IPINFO, which is
cultural export manager, for IPINFO, which is the initiative to promote the Franco-Ontarian music internationally. So that's one of my hats. Second hat is a little bit like Jean-François, I'm a booking agent also, but for Francophone Ontarian artists. And I represent about 10 artists in Toronto, in Ontario Francophone, so I'm based in Toronto. And also programmer for a festival, but that's different. That's not what we're going to talk about today anyway.
And as you guys, I feel like these people, and probably myself as well, like we have many hats, and that's the way it is in the industry. And we're talking about the business plan, and right now, maybe we can start by saying that there's not one model. There's no way there's no right way, there's no wrong way to do things right now in this new paradigm of the music industry in 2015. But if there's one way, the main point where to start, you have a music project, you believe in it. Where to start?
Well, I think it's an important question. It's the key point. The fact that you believe it, I don't want to discourage anybody, but the fact that you believe in it doesn't make it good. So it has to be freaking good. That's the number one priority. Before trying to look at agents, management, whatever, you have to have a project that is so ready that these people will actually come to you. And I have tons of examples of that. I mean, we receive demos and proposition like 5 a week for a small company, and we get a lot of stuff that is just not ready. So that's the first. I mean, it seems obvious, but it's not. I mean, you rather work a couple of years to develop your identity, your project, your musical project, and become so unique and so appealing to all the people that will then help you build the right plan for you in collaboration with you. That's my vision.
To build on
after that, I mean, there's a million things that comes after that, but that's the first, the key point.
To build on what Jean-François is saying, the important thing is, to me anyway, and I think Jean-François will reach me there as well, is the booking agent or the manager, unless it's by default because it's your boyfriend, girlfriend, family, dad, and whatever, it should come last. Your product has to, and I say product, and I don't want to offend anybody when I say product, but your product has to be strong.
It is a product.
It is a product at the end. So it has to be strong on its own. The booking agent will come in at one point, but it's not a given. It's not necessary at the starting point. So. Yeah.
And you have to look at your music as a tool, as your little small company as well. So you have to have the maturity to see your music as your small business in which you invest and in which you need to reflect on it as well. So in the market right now, wherever you want to go, you have to understand what are the realities in this market. You have to see if someone's doing the same thing as you. If your product is just like a byproduct of something else, you need to be aware of it. Sometimes people will tell you, but you need by yourself to reflect upon what you do, and so that you can develop a some sort of like critical thinking about your own art. And from that point, I think you will be able to evolve and find your niche and find a market that will suit your needs as a businessman, but as an artist as well.
Just again, the one thing I'm looking for whenever like there's an artist that approaches us is basically, what have you done by yourself up to this point?
Yeah.
If you haven't done anything, or you don't know what it is to call presenters, festivals and stuff like that, to me, I'm gonna have to show you that in order for you to appreciate what I'm doing, and that for me is a point of no interest, because I'm not there for that.
Yeah.
That's important to me anyway.
Yeah, it's important. Yeah, as you build your art, it's important to understand all the aspects of the business, which is sometimes hard. You also don't want to be overwhelmed by it. So the feeling I have is mixed on that. Is that I think again, if you focus a lot of on your art and on your project, at some point the team will come in, and I feel I'm repeating myself, but it's so key. But yes, you do have to understand, and a lot of the artists I'm working with, they've done their own booking and management and stuff, and so they understand how to appreciate the work how it has to be done, and how difficult it is, but also then they understand more what you do and what you're useful for, and also the one thing I feel, because we're talking about business plans, but it's also a management type of panel, and one of the key thing I feel is that a lot of the artists that I talk to and stuff, they sometimes don't understand either the contracts they're signing, the way the business works. So even if the job is well done, sometimes they won't see it because they won't see their they won't see their program everywhere, and that they don't sell much CDs and stuff. So it's very important to set expectation with the artist and make sure they do understand what you're trying to build for your career and what the manager is trying to build with the agent, producer, or whoever is on the team. But that's the main point, really understanding what's happening and have a really good communication on expectations, because there's nothing worse like for a manager than have an artist that say, well, I'm disappointed for X thing, and then in your mind you've done the best thing. It's like, oh, I'm so glad I got that gig, and then the other say, well, it was a shitty gig or something. It's like you really have to, and that happens sometimes. It's really important to set expectations and try to meet them the best you can. But that's and even the expectation about when you don't have a team, because I assume part of you have a team, some don't. Some of our artists, some are manager, but that goes for everybody. The expectation and how it can be met is very important to avoid discouragement, disappointment, and be focused on the steps that needs to be done to try to be successful, which we can talk more about.
There's in 2015, as you approach managers, labels, bookers, these people will want you to take part in the business side of things, promoting yourself. I see a lot of artists going in or coming in at the office and saying, like, I don't want to take care of any of the like self-promotion, or I don't want to do this, I'm not good at it. Well, tough luck. Like we're in 2015, and this is how it's gonna be. Like you have to be at least like, create yourself web following, like have discussion and find yourself fans online. So that at the end the numbers are speak for themselves. So if you have 10,000 likes on Facebook, it's it's sad, but that's what the manager will be looking at the end of the day. Not, oh, okay, the music is good. If the music is good and there's nothing, everything has to be created from scratch. It's a lot more work, and we're in 2015.
So just to because the theme is business plan, like when we're talking about, of course, having a team as part of your business plan is key. It's integral. It's an integral part of your business plan, but it has to be surviving without a team at first. So that's, if we're looking at a 1, 3, 5-year plan, your first 2, 3 years is probably without a team. It's probably without booking agent and a management and everything. Then comes year 3 when the buzz is around and you can't take it anymore because making the calls is taking a toll on you writing songs and rehearsing. Then it might be time for that, but that's probably year 3, just to put that back in perspective.
And so, like, whereas like maybe 20 years ago, you would show up and win one contest, and you would get the whole team, the whole shebang, like promoter and the label would give you a great advance, and you would have the publisher as well. And nowadays, well, the work needs to be done. It needs to be
incremental.
Yes, and then the team will follow. We were talking about all these like showcase opportunities before this panel. As an artist, you will have these great opportunities to showcase outside of your country or even in different cities. But it is very important to be able to work, to understand that, yes, you will have to play your own songs on stage, but there's a work to be done before and a work to be done after that, so that your concert will not just be a concert, but it will be a networking opportunity. It will be a place for business to be conducted. It is very important for you to realize that. So between year 1 and year 3, where you start to have some buzz and generate some interest from labels and promoters and bookers, there's a lot of work to be done by yourself.
We're also saying that it could be probably more important the first year of that potential market, because every showcase is a market on its own, to go and scout that market first. So go the first year without showcasing, and then see how it goes before you go and showcase, because after that it's done, you've done it. So it's too late sometimes.
So we've come to the realization that, you know, like, the team will come at some point when you're ready. People will probably come knocking at your door when they see that the project could make money, could be profitable, could sell out tours, could be interesting to have on a record label. But before that, you're basically on your own, which is scary. But at the same time, you will learn every single aspect of the business.
But that's sometimes, I mean, there are exceptions. Sometimes you can see, I mean, I'm that type of management. I like also to be one of the first one to discover talent, and there's nothing. I mean, the artist is just as an EP and has done just a couple of shows, but it's so good at that point that you want to try to build that with the artist. That happened to me before, at least twice. And that's, I mean, that could be an exception of, you know, trying to be, but again, these artists sometimes they were so focused on their art. Since, I mean, the one I'm thinking about, she's playing piano. She's 4 years old. Her name is Claude Pelgag. I've been managing her since 2011, and we really built something together because I believed in it at the very beginning of it. So that's also a possibility that it can happen as well. So just mention. I mean, again, there's no route. It's like, if you think about, I mean, it's another style of music, but Half Moon Run. I mean, they had this. They met on Craigslist. I think they practiced for a year in a basement. They went to record label with a demo, and everybody was like, "What the heck is that?" And then now they're known internationally. I mean, sometimes again, it's the base. If the basic is there, if there's an artist, then things will follow.
Yeah. So just to make sure that we have we responded, we answered some of the questions in your description. So how should I keep track of my fans and contacts?
I think there are many ways, obviously the obvious social network, but the way the social networks are managed, I think all the artists should either preferably do it themselves with proper knowledge and a team that understand how social media work. And if they're not publishing if somebody else is publishing on their behalf, it has to be very clear, because you can't do the fans or people. I mean, they want direct access to the artist, and it's true. Some artists don't want to do it. They will lose some people. They will. And it depends. Some artists, they're just not good at it. Sometimes rather not do it, but it has to be done, and it has to be done in an honest way, because I see sometimes teams pretending being the artist, and it's really ugly. I mean, it just doesn't work. So that's one thing. The mailing list for me is key. Who's on MySpace today? Nobody. I mean, the mailing list is really key to keep contact, I think, with the fan, and everybody has to be redirected with the main website. I think that's key also to when you try to build your pre-sale of CDs or identify where your fans are. If you don't want to rely on presenters buying the show, but you really can push a CD, say, look, I have 300 fans in your CD. I know if I put a show that people will show up. This is really powerful to convince people to buy your show after and build and sell CDs and find distribution and grow your fan base and your revenue in your career.
And more and more the grants, if you applying for grants and stuff like that, they're trying to quantify also how was it, how many fans you had a year ago before we gave you that money, and how many fans you have now, what have you done, and this is the only way is to quantify that. So how many fans you had, 700, and now you had like 750, then there's something you're not doing right. So that's in correlation. Yeah.
And it's powerful for everything. I mean, to do pre-sales, to do contests, whatever. Not only, the obvious Facebook, YouTube, and stuff, and also the way that manage the YouTube channel. A lot of artists, they don't control or own their own YouTube channel. I mean, it's a friend of theirs that shot a video, put it on their channel. So it's really important to own your website. Even some artists don't even own their website. It's owned by their label. That's nuts. I mean, you have to own your website. And I'm telling you, I had horror stories that artists weren't able to get their .com, their website back, because it was owned by their label. I mean, you have to own your stuff, and the website is where you can have control of everything. I mean, you don't own Facebook, you don't own all the Twitter, Instagram, like YouTube, everything. So you have to have your website really as the center, I think, of what's happening. Then you have the social media around, but the key component is your website, I think.
And another thing you were talking about, like how you keep, there's fan base in terms of contact, but if you are at the first 2-3 years of your own project, of course you're gonna do what I was saying earlier. You're gonna contact those presenters, those festivals, and everything. And how do you keep track of that to make sure you're doing a follow up? And there's a note somewhere. I mean, there's many cloud system nowadays, and this is probably a key thing for you to get and invest in that. There's some that are free, there's some that you need to pay, but it's worth, because for instance, for me, I use Salesforce. For other people it's different, but I have notes that keeps popping up saying, okay, this guy, you said you would contact him in 3 months, this is the month, so there you go, you follow up. So that's key, because that's the only way you're going to get to that end point, is if you're really disciplined about your calling back and your follow-up. So that's important.
It can be as easy as putting every single contact, every single business card that you got at, say, here, and then putting them in this Excel spreadsheet, and then putting notes like call back January 12 with EP in hand and whatever, and follow up. Always follow up on everything. Follow up on your fans. It's like, hey, I just recorded this cover. It's on YouTube. Have you checked it? You know, and people will appreciate that when you're when you're starting.
And they'll be the first sometimes to, if the project's good, they'll be the first to share it around and create. I mean, there's no such thing as create me a viral video. I mean, it becomes viral because people
like it,
decide they like it, and it triggers an emotional something emotionally so strong. Sorry, my English is not emotionally so strong that they just share it, and that you can't buy, you can't invent it. It just happened. But then you have to have the infrastructure to capitalize on these things that happen. We talk about buzz, but again, if you don't have the infrastructure, you'll just miss on an opportunity. And that's another thing that we were talking about before the panel, is about the management. Sometimes what I think is key also in having a team or be ready is not to miss an opportunity when it's the right time. I mean, a showcase is an opportunity, but it's not if it's not on the right year. It could be too early. It could ruin your career if it's done too early, or when you don't have the right team. Or I mean, I have an example of a band that I've been I took 2 years before taking their booking, because I felt they were not ready. And the year we took them, we had the 2 key showcases, and then we sold 60 shows. And phew, they were Juno nominee, Adisc nominee. They won a Felix, and they were just not ready 2 years ago. But when we took them, they were. So it wouldn't be a service to them to try to develop when they weren't ready. But they kept informing, and then at some point it was okay. They're serious. They're good. There is a market, and we did it. So.
Yeah, be aware of your market, and take your time. And if you see something that could be a competition in your area of expertise or in your genre of music, well, wait it out. See what happens in a year. See if that person is successful, or you need to be business savvy. We were just asking, maybe it's time for a first round of questions. If you guys have questions, maybe you can raise your hand. And
we just want to make sure we're at the right level, like
everybody has so much different backgrounds and expectations. And we'll be here all week, I think. For myself. So if you have questions anyway, you can always pay us a beer or whatever.
Yeah. Salesforce,
c'est un cloud parmi tant d'autres. Là. Il y a plusieurs aspects. Là. Je ne sais pas, toi, si tu...
on utilise Bob Booking, c'est un outil européen. Mais beaucoup Outlook aussi pour les... C'est très varié. Moi, Salesforce, je ne le connais pas. Il y en a qui utilisent dans l'industrie, qui ont développé des bases de données FileMaker. Il y en a qui travaillent juste avec des vieux spreadsheets, mais avec des pop-up dans Outlook ou dans leur truc de mail. Il y a pas de... Je pense qu'il y a plusieurs outils qui existent. C'est sûr que Bob Booking a essayé de faire un outil très concentré sur le booking, très niche, puis il génère tes contrats, tes feuilles de route, beaucoup de choses. Là. Donc, puis en plus, in Bob Booking, one of the tools we use is like you can, when on your database, you have all the festivals and stuff that you put in, and then you can say, okay, well, it's pretty much time to book May, so who has gigs on May, and okay, this festival's in May, so it's time to contact them. So there are tools that are pretty powerful, but when you start, sometimes you don't want to be overwhelmed by that. You just want to make sure you do the right gigs at the right time, and then people. But Bob Booking or Salesforce. But as long as you have a tool that you mastered, because sometimes, I mean, even Bob Booking, I took like a year before being able to use it, and I'm still sometimes just, oh, I need to call this guy, and it's just pops in my head because it's the right time, and
there's never going to be something that's going to be replacing your head, because contacts you're making, sometimes it's an idea that just pop up.
Yeah,
exactly. Especially for opportunities, again, you say, oh, there's that artist coming to Montreal, I'd like to have my band open for them. It's just because if you depend too much on tools, sometimes it's good to have good tools, but then it kind of, your focus is so on that you're not open to all the possibilities that can be better for your artists or yourself if you're self-managed.
So business in music is an art in itself. So it has
is
a lot of like
complex.
instinct with it. So it's like have business savvy, but then go with your guts.
Because sometimes not. I mean, we talk about opportunities. Sometimes it's just you have an opportunity, you don't have the money, you don't have the structure, so you miss on that. That's again. You have to at least, I mean, like you're doing the right thing now, being at this panel, taking information and trying to find out who can fund a future showcase for you, who can, like what are the arts organizations that help musicians to record tour and stuff. It's all information important, because when you do have the opportunity, you have to have the tools to make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
And that's probably one of the main objective of having a team sometimes is to capitalize on opportunities, because sometimes it's hard when you're alone. Say, oh, I have this showcase at Womex, but I don't have a team, I don't have money to go, and how do I do it? Well, that's, you have a question?
Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, if you don't like it, I mean, the important thing is to first protect your art with SOCAN, with all the organization, protect your stuff. So, because the more available it is, the better it's gonna have her play and stuff. So, I mean, the fact that it's free is gonna may spread the word quicker, and but you'll gain money somewhere else. Like if your website is well prepared, you'll attract fans, you'll sell tickets. I mean, you, especially if you're a singer or songwriter. I mean, when you're an artist and you sing somebody else's song, sometimes it's tougher because the singer, the songwriter part of it would not gain that much money, which is sometimes fault, because if then it generates concert and radio play, then everybody gets paid properly. So I think as a start, it's important, because there's so much stuff, so much music that is free, that if you put a barrier up front, it's hard. But you have to have a plan around it to take the money. It's like, oh, it's free here, but you take money somewhere else.
You have to have a plan. Like, aside from giving your song for free, that we're talking business plan, right? So why are you giving that song for free? So what's the base underneath? What's the reason underneath? If it's just to give a song for free, you don't have a fan base. You might have your mother that downloads it for pleasure, and your cousin, and that's it. But I mean, that's the typical example. But I mean, you have to think further. What's the reason behind as to why? So, do I have a show coming up? Do I have like what's coming up?
And you can always monitor as well who downloaded the song, who streamed it, who and how many plays you got from Montreal, how many plays you got from Toronto, and who's interested in your music, and capitalize from that. So yeah, it's like, why the reason of giving it for free, and at the same time, like, be business savvy enough to have the numbers and be conscious of the thing you get for free. It's not for free. You want to know who's interested in your music.
Yeah, and it can end up on the radio and satellite radio, and you get a check of $50,000 next year. I mean, you never know. These things happen today, because if it's played, and it's like, so there's 5 minutes. Just you got 5 minutes.
What? In the back.
Do you have suggestions of actual websites where you can go to help you actually put together the business plan? Do you have websites that you
there was one I remember doing it for my own company, and there's a site. Actually, it's in Quebec. I think it's Business Development Machin.
Yeah, I know there's one. I think it's really generic.
Yeah, it is.
I don't think it's music
But it frames
specific, but I could frame it because but I feel that the music business is somewhat very special. So I mean the obvious, promotion, what's your, public, how you're going to get to it, but it's so specific that it could maybe be a framework, but I think real quick you'll have to develop your your own thing. I mean, but some of the grant program ask more and more questions about that, and could be a good exercise. I mean, it's not just a pain sometimes to fill out these grant applications. It's also a good exercise and pose the right question, why you're doing it, and so sometimes you can use those programs. So, and at the same time you have a grant that's done, and you also have a business plan in the end, and that's probably where you'll have the best. I'm not sure. I don't know a lot about the factor, and so I'm more on the franchise and musique action. So
but it's basically the same thing.
Yeah.
They will ask you questions whether or not you're interested in touring, whether or not you, what's your business plan?
What's your 1, 3, 5 year plan?
Yes. So it'll help you throughout this process to build yourself a business plan that is governmental friendly.
Yeah, but Google it. I mean, I'm more or less. Je suis d'accord avec toi, puis je le suis pas. Parce que it's a business. So regardless if it's music or if it's like baking pies, it's a business. You need to know your business. You need to know where you're going, who's your competitors, and saying that there's no competitors doesn't exist, by the way. So and be creative, and build to your point. Be creative. Go outside that frame that they keep telling you to do. But go on Google, and there's plenty of site that will help you structure it.
Question?
C'est très intéressant parce que tout le monde dit que l'album est mort ou à peu près, puis les journalistes ont beaucoup de difficultés de parler d'autres choses. En tout cas, je peux parler pour le Québec, là, après pour le reste du monde, je sais pas. Je sais pas comment c'était à Womex, je sais pas si les albums ont aussi une force de frappe, mais ça demeure quand même une carte de visite importante parce que ça demeure encore une carte de visite importante. Puis je pense que le défi est toujours le financement, mais moi, je crois encore aujourd'hui, ça ne sera peut-être pas le cas l'année prochaine, mais aujourd'hui, c'est encore important d'arriver avec une carte de visite forte qui est malheureusement encore l'album. En tout cas, pour réussir à avoir la couverture, ne serait-ce médiatique.
Mais la question...
oui, des fois. Encore là, des fois, c'est incrémental. C'est-à-dire que tu peux arriver, tu fais ton album, tu avances, puis là, finalement, plus ça avance, ben là, tu réussis à intéresser une équipe. Fait que des fois, ils peuvent soit décider de le produire, de racheter les bandes, de le produire, puis de l'embarquer dans un système de subventions. Et au Canada aussi, il y a quand même pas mal de subventions qui sont disponibles. Donc, ça dépend, mais je pense que ultimement, ça devient... c'est quand même une carte de visite. Il ne faut pas le voir comme outil de vente, dire « OK, je vais faire un album parce que je veux en vendre 20 000 ou 50 000 », mais ça reste en tout cas aujourd'hui encore une incontournable pour avoir un peu de visibilité. Puis en tout cas, je pense.
Dans l'industrie, de plus en plus, we talk about the EP as the business card, like la carte de visite, and the album as the art form of making music. So that's where I feel like the album will still be relevant in 10, 15, 20 years, even though maybe people won't buy as much albums as they used to.
La question qui se pose, I don't know if I should go in French or English, but I'll go half-half. La question qui se pose, c'est que, encore une fois, c'est pourquoi tu veux avoir un album. Si tu parles de ton business plan, why do you want to have your album now? Is there like a fan base big enough so they're going to buy it? Are you going to invest too much and then rely on people buying it and therefore not being able to survive out of that big investment? So, je m'aligne avec Guillaume aussi là-dessus, puis avec Jean-François, on est tout je pense que ça revient tout au même, mais le EP est important beaucoup plus à un early phase puis tout ça. C'est que c'est un EP. J'ai des amis, moi, qui sont à un niveau, je parle de Swing, qui est à Montréal présentement, qui est un band franco-ontarien, qui est présentement à C'est quoi, qui a réussi après tant d'années à pousser pour arriver enfin à C'est quoi. Puis Michel Bénac, qui est en arrière du band, a sorti 2 EP, tout simplement pour faire plus de promotion, pour se donner la chance de pouvoir mettre ça plus souvent dans la face du monde. C'est que je veux dire, c'est une stratégie. Est-ce qu'elle est bonne?
Puis des fois, and sometimes the album is one thing, and then I know in francophone music, or even maybe in the case of swing, if they were able to get on the commercial radio, we were talking about the art, and we can also talk about songs. I mean, you want to be on radio, you have to have the right songs. If you have only 10 minutes jam of klezmer or whatever, it won't suit. So your objective has to be precise. But if you have a song that really has radio potential, then yes, you should target radio, and then the EP could be a way to get into the network. But again, it's also, everything starts with the art, and then what you want to do, and then try to build the right path between the two.
Oui.
J'ai pas vraiment une question, c'est plutôt un commentaire par rapport à mon avis. La façon dont, entre autres, ça commence toujours par le talent pour partir un plan, un groupe, quelque chose. Ceci dit, ça devrait toujours passer par la recherche personnelle de c'est quoi cette industrie-là, à savoir qu'il y a plein de collectivités, comme la SOCAN, comme la DIS, comme la SOPROC, comme toutes sortes de collectivités qui font des formations et qui vont vous dire c'est quoi un contrat de gérance, c'est quoi du publishing, c'est quoi faire de la promotion, c'est quoi faire du networking. Et à mon avis, dans le modèle d'affaires où on est, il y a deux conditions de base qui vont vous permettre de percer, c'est d'être structuré puis de persister. Puis de persister dans cette diversité-là, c'est d'aller s'informer sur. Des fois, de lire un contrat de gérance va vous dire ce à quoi vous devez vous attendre de la gérance. De lire un contrat de publishing ou apprendre c'est quoi les éditions, ça va vous dire ce dont vous devez vous attendre d'un éditeur ou si vous allez faire votre propre édition. Alors, mon seul commentaire, c'est que ça part, c'est pas juste l'aspect artistique du projet, c'est un aspect aussi structuré et de connaissance de l'industrie.
Oui,
ça, il n'y a pas personne d'autre que vous autres qui va pouvoir le faire à votre place.
Ouais, non, c'est ça. Ouais. Puis des fois, ou d'avoir je prends l'exemple de Claude, de prendre un artiste à la source, puis de l'informer, de l'amener avec soi, à rencontrer la SOCAN, Artisti, ces organismes. Be member of your association if you're a songwriter. Be member of all the associations that can help you give training and training sessions, and because it's important to understand at least these aspects, or at the very minimum, make sure if you have a manager that he does understand all that, because I see so many I see money like on Sound Exchange that's not claimed. I see money everywhere. It's like you're like, my God, these
money
artists,
here, that's SOCAN.
SOCAN.
Like
there's
sleeping.
money not claimed. There are shows. People have money at the table that they're not going and getting it. So yes, I agree with you. You have to go to like you did come today. You have to go and be member of your association. That's what I want to tell you. If you're a producer, you have to be in Quebec. You have to be a member of SOPROC. You have to make sure you send your stuff to SOPROC. You have to. There are rights there that there is money on the table. It's not true that there's no money. It's just not where sometimes you think it is. And the classic example is an artist trying that signs a contract an artist contract or a contract for a license for their album, and they pick on the percentage of royalty, but they don't look at the neighbor rights. It's like, it's not, I mean, the money is not there, it's there. It's like, so you really have to be knowledgeable about this as well.
To pick a manager or a booking agent, more specifically a booking manager, it's fun sometimes to have your best friend as your manager, or to have like a cousin or someone really close to you. But at the same time, if they know nothing, it doesn't help you. So they have to have that savviness to want to go and
or at least learn at
yes,
the same time.
yes.
But at least, because I mean, we're lacking good management. I think there's a lack of good management in Quebec, and I'm not sure about the other provinces, in Canada in general. And it's a lot of people give up quickly because there's not a lot of money in management. Imagine if the artist struggles to make a living. If you make 15% of that, it's good luck. So you have to have managers that also do other work. Sometimes a producer, sometimes they're also the booking agents. But yes, we lack good managers. That's for sure. And for the number of great artists there are, we lack that.
And as well, for the artist, it's your job, if you hire a manager, to be on their back and be like, hey, do you know about SOCAN? Do you know about all these associations? Do you know about these workshops that you can attend to be better at your job? It's you are basically his boss, and you need to be demanding, because he's the one managing you. It's very important.
There's never going to be anybody more interested in your career than yourself. In general, I mean, I say that, and sometimes I have artists in my mind. I say, well, sometimes I felt I was more interested in their career than they were, but that's another story. But again, yes, you have to be interested in what you do and build your team around that. I think we're done.
Yes.
You're gonna kick us.
I think we can, if you guys want to have questions, maybe we can leave the room and talk to Jean-François or José or myself. Thanks for coming here, and I hope you guys will enjoy your Mundial, and have a great rest of the day.
That's the
Thanks. Thank you.